you are! Thanks for coming so quickly, Pups! Are you ready for an exciting race?
A race?
Whoa!
Awesome!
Paw Patrol is revved up and ready to race in Paw Patrol Rescue Wheels Championship, which is a kart-style racer that is definitely aimed at the younger demographic. So I just want to make clear in the beginning that I am obviously much older than the target demographic here. So I'm going to do this review in a way where I make that clear from the get-go so that you know that if you're watching this review, you're probably watching it to see what type of content that's here. Is it fun? But understand that this isn't one of those games that I feel like is fun for adults and for kids. This is definitely one for the kiddos. I would say 10 and under is probably the target demographic here, and that's going to be the audience that finds this the most enjoyable. It's a bit too basic and simplistic. As a result, for any player, I think, over that age, they'd be better suited to play a Mario Kart or a Hot Wheels game, because those are fun for more advanced players and also newcomers. So with that out of the way, let's get into the content that's here. So there are a total of 10 characters that you can play as. Each race will have 6, less for the arenas, but 6 for the races. 7 are unlocked from the start, and then 3 will be unlocked from the story mode. There's 12 total race tracks, and then 3 total arenas, with the arena mode being similar to the battle mode from Mario Kart, where you can hit each other with items, but the main thing you're doing here is collecting the treats, and at the end of the time limit, whoever has the most treats is the victor. Pretty simple, but, you know, pretty fun and a nice way to do something different other than races. There are 4 total modes, the first being a tutorial, which you'll play right in the beginning. So the tutorial does a good job of teaching the player the fundamentals on how to play the game. A lot of it you don't even need to engage with, and I actually played through a lot of this not doing any of the stunts, not drifting, not using any of the items, just to see if I could still get first, and I could. So if you have a little one that's 5 or 6 and they can only really handle using the gas and steering, they're going to be just fine. It also does have 3 different difficulties for the different modes. So easy, normal, hard. I tried all 3. Easy is going to be perfect for like the youngest of players. And then hard will pose a tiny bit of a challenge, but because the AI does rubber band in a good way and allow you to catch up if they're ahead of you, even hard mode isn't hard. But for them, maybe it will be. Then there's also a quick play option, which can be played 1 or 2 players across either of the modes, any of the tracks. Some customization goes into how you want to race. There's the championship mode, which is spread across 3 different areas. Each one has a few different races, then one of the 3 arenas, and then at the end you'll unlock one of the extra characters I previously mentioned. Then there's the Pup Cups, which are the different circuits. So think the Mario Kart circuits, right? There's 4 races, you do them back to back. If you get first place, you get 10 points. Whoever's got the most points at the end of the 4 races brings home the gold cup. Now, although there are 3 difficulties, it makes no difference which one of these you play on. You can unlock everything and beat everything all the same, whether you're on easy or hard, which is great, so they could play this exactly how they want to play. And if they need some assistance, there are 2 options for accessibility. There's an auto stunt and then also an auto accelerate option, so they don't even have to do either of those 2 things. Pretty cool. And one of the things you've probably seen is that there's lots of treats spread across each of the races and the arenas. Collecting enough of these will unlock new cosmetics for all of the different racers here. There's different paint colors for their cars, rims, different exhaust trails, and then stickers that you can slap on the side of one of your cars. Pretty cool. So beyond all of those things, that's all of the content here. I do wish there was a time trial mode with some staff ghosts or something a bit more interesting than just the racing, because I think even as a kid, I probably would have gotten a little bit bored with this pretty quickly, because you do see all of the content the game has to offer very quickly. And other than replaying for the cosmetics, there's not a whole lot of incentive to return. So I think this is a good game for parents to get their kids if they're close in age and they're going to play this together, since you can play it 2 players, or if they have a friend to play with as well. I think the 2-player option is going to be the main draw beyond clearing all of the single-player content, which will only take a few hours, or at least it should. I think it makes good use of the Paw Patrol IP. There's a cute little story there in the championship mode. The characters talk a lot while you're racing. They're constantly talking to the point where I actually turned off the voiceovers because it's incredibly distracting. I think this might even annoy younger children. Maybe they'll enjoy it. I don't really know, but I found it really annoying and turned it off. But as far as like the track design, it's actually really good. I thought all of the tracks were pretty fun to race through. They don't have a lot of hazards or anything crazy. There are a lot of jumps, and they really want you to engage with the stunt mechanic a lot, because you have this stunt meter you can build up, and then when it's full, the next time you hit a stunt on a ramp, you'll do like a super maneuver. It's real flashy, and you'll go a little bit further, and you'll also gain a little bit of boost. I think this mechanic is really poorly implemented, because a lot of the jumps are short jumps. So if you use this, you're gonna fly off the course, you're gonna crash into a wall. I think they should have just had this do a flashy boost, like a nitrous boost, instead of a stunt, a flashy stunt, because it just doesn't work very well. Beyond that, my only other complaint really is the fact that the AI gets stuck sometimes. I noticed on a few of the levels, they just stopped moving and were just sitting in place doing stunts. Kind of weird. Probably not going to bother kids, but, you know, I noticed it at least a few times. There's items that you can collect during races that you can use to hit your opponents. There's a pie, which is like a shell. There are, you know, a lot of things that are going to look similar if you've played Mario Kart, but if your kids never did, it'll be a good introduction to that style of gameplay. And for the longest time playing kart racers, I always thought the blue shell was the bane of my existence, but that's got nothing on the UFO here, which will come in when you're in first place, grab you, lift you, and hold you there, completely stunt all your momentum, tie you up for a while. Pretty annoying. But, you know, the game is missing some of the more advanced functionality for the sake of simplicity. I think it's a little bit of a hindrance. You can't look behind you with the camera, which means you can't look when you're shooting items behind you at your opponents. You can't brake, you can't reverse, and they kind of combined all of that into one button, which is the X button on Switch, and holding this will just reset you on the course, which I only used a few times, and it seems like a weird thing to incorporate, but that's the route that they took. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. I think this is a fun one for the kiddos. I don't necessarily think this is going to be one that's fun for parents to play with their kids, unless they're not a big gamer. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit too basic and probably a bit boring. But I think for the youngest of players, 10 and under, I think this is an enjoyable way to get them into kart racers. And if they enjoy it, then you can eventually work them up into the Hot Wheels racers or even Mario Kart, which have a lot of the mechanics that I mentioned that are missing here, that are crucial to those types of games. You know, Mario Kart, Disney Speedstorm, the Hot Wheels games. There's a lot of fun racers like this that are more advanced, but this is a good entry point. Just be aware of the lack of content and that it's probably not going to keep them busy for very long. So I did try to show everything off. If you have any further questions on anything from the game, something I missed, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you watching this review for Rescue Wheels Championship. If you found it helpful, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you on the next one.